Hi, this is Space Cadet from Comic Creations, and I'm here to talk about the current progress of my game Overstimulation Simulation. For those of you who don't know, I started this game in 2022 and released it for a convention in 2023. The game follows Emma, an autistic woman, as you guide her through her day-to-day life and try not to, well, get overstimulated. The majority of the code and assets were made in the first year, like Emma's animations, 90% of the code, and the assets for 2 entire levels. I took a break in 2024 for a side project. So it took me over 2 years to improve the dialogue, which I did by changing the encounters to scriptable objects instead of having it all tacked in on the script itself. A lot of the code had to be reworked, but it allowed me to get more varied and, I would say, better responses for the dialogue. There's now feedback when anyone presses a response or if they press the wrong response in a boss encounter. Every encounter outside of bosses no longer have a right or wrong response, which I'm very proud of that. It also allowed me to create bosses for the stressed emotion set, which was something I had planned since the very beginning. It doesn't mean that the system is perfect. There's a lot of entanglement in the 3 scripts involved in the process, which I guess is fine because those scripts really only interact with each other, but I still wish it was a little cleaner. There's also the fact that people have been struggling with the tutorial. This has been going on for a while, and I've tried a few ways to improve it. One of the new things I did was add a specific script to the tutorial level that will enable and disable things based off of how far the player has made it into the level. Which does mean nobody can fail the game until they've made it out of the first room, but people were still repeatedly dying to the tutorial boss. And I could not figure out why. Everyone was getting the first question of the boss right, but then I'd see them press the same button again, and then when they came back to the first question, they were now pressing different buttons and doing worse than they had the first time, which made it even weirder when people were having such an easy time with the stressed version of that boss. The way the encounter system works is that players have a different set of characters they could see based off of if they have a low or high stimulation. The normal encounters have your frustrated, confused, sad, happy. When they have a high stimulation, the faces are supposed to be harder to read. I didn't get how the situation that was supposed to be confusing was clearer to everyone until I brought it to a friend and fellow game dev who was able to identify the correct responses for the images, but when I threw him into the level, he revealed that he didn't notice that it had moved on to the next phase of the boss. So I'm in the process of coding and implementing a particle system to add a response for anyone who is still looking at the buttons rather than looking at the person they're fighting. For the things that I want to do next, well, firstly, I want to make more devlogs. I'm hoping uploading stuff to this channel will force me to actually keep up with the progress reports, as I'd like to show that I haven't given up on this project, and I don't plan to give up on this project until it's done. As for the game development side, I would like to finish the assets for the house party. I have made one new script for a mechanic that isn't seen in the other levels, and I have most of, if not all of the backgrounds made for the map. What I need to do is finish the encounter assets and actually design the bosses. I know I really would rather be working on the office level since the house party is supposed to be harder, but when I've talked to people, they keep giving me ideas for mechanics that I never considered for this game, which would require so many more assets. But they're all so interesting, so I want to give them a shot. Thank you for listening if you've stayed by this far, and hopefully I'll get to more things soon.